So I'm trying to get a little pre-walk here before I head out with my kids to go walk outside. We're going to go on a nice little walk. We're going to test out this, the capacity of this guy, the Max 2 that my son bought. My younger son bought my older son for Christmas. And we may even do a little bit of drone stuff, but I don't think so because the weather is just so bad. And it's an autonomous follow-along drone, so look out for some really cool footage. We're going to be getting out more. I'm trying to get my endocrine system, my slow wave sleep, right? I'm trying to get all that going right because I don't get to sleep till the morning most of the time. And I'm trying to really work on that to be able to get up bright and early and go for my walks, because that would be my preferred time, is to wake up at about 4 a.m. to get out there at about 4 a.m. and then be coming in about 10 a.m. That would be my preferred methodology. Capturing footage, looking up at the night sky, doing some sky captures to see what's going on with that. Really high quality 8K stuff where I can zoom in and really look at, everything, every little detail. But I'm watching people crumble. I'm watching these people who have made these deals. Some of them you would think, oh, that's nothing. They're just making $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 off YouTube, lying on their channel, lying out their ass. But what I would like to point out is that you see the same methods. In fact, it's the same exact methodology where you see these people crumbling. You see their physical health crumbling. They live off a lie. They figure nobody's going to know whether or not you lie. Why not just create this sort of hyperbole, this story that just brings in a huge influx of people at a time, and then you back away from that and you don't really stand behind what you say, and you start to get all topsy-turvy, where you create these contradictions quite intentionally so that people will then become intrigued. They'll be drawn in. I mean, we're talking about Damien Eccles, a complete and total liar who's trying to posit and posture himself as if he's some sort of magical teacher. And he's selling books, right? So why is that my problem? Oh, because he kills little children? Because he gets tattoos and gloats about it? So you want to see people like Johnny Depp come down. You want to see them be Marilyn Manson and Johnny Depp. You want to see them completely revealed. All what they stood for so long, all the lies that they stood behind, just to be self-glorifying when there is no self there at all, right? So you get into the aspect of who really earns a self, and even more so, could you use the term earn, right? Like an urn where your ashes go, right? It's a little creepy, but it's true. These things are quite intentional. I mean, they're done by Masonic engine. They're used as a Rosicrucian tool and mechanism, right? Who deserves to have a soul? Who deserves to come back? Why would we want to put a sort of merited work and practice tangentially attached to this, right? And the truth is it's the authenticity of being the self and accepting the limitations that come with that, right? I have cited this before, but I think about Steinbeck, and I think about the book, The Pearl. If you haven't read it, it's a very short book. It's an amazing little book because each one of us is essentially carrying this pearl along. And that pearl represents who we really are, and the fact that if I could just be myself one day, if I could come out with a rap song or do something really cutting edge, everybody would want to watch me, right? And that's the time we live in. Essentially, everyone in social media is the boy who cried wolf, right? Men and women. They're the boy who cried wolf. They're going to come out with this big story. They're going to try to, through much grandiosity, get as many views and as many likes as they possibly can. But it's all under we use this term a lot these days, but it's all under the artifice of creating this parallel structural other self that doesn't even exist, right? This quasi-self. That people are putting it out there in this digital way, and you will come to meet that false representation of yourself. And that self will get torn down. And so it comes down to principles. And I see EPL being an extremely dire required necessity, and that is why it became utterly important to me to go into the discourse and the focus of check balancing yourself. There's very little you can do when you're trying to be pure, which none of us are, but we're trying to balance to not deviate and go off into these trails of lies and deceit that are going to keep the body alive, where the soul being on loan, as Jesus says in the Nag Hammadi and Dead Sea Scrolls, and really the Gnostic archives, if you look at that and other places where it's like the soul is on loan, right? So coming down to the practicum of that, the materium, right? The continuum of that, and to look at this, like the most recent Michael Tessarian video that he put up, the contrarium is what he pronounced it as. And to me, it reminds me of the postulations that I put forth about EPL with what I call the Zinzik operator, right? Where we really are given this limited status of working with the localized quantum effect of the self. And if the self doesn't reflect the totality, then it's seen as a falsified beacon, a false light. And if it's not being supported by a falsified gravity, a falsified unity in structure, well, that has no unity. If there is no purity, there cannot be any grace. And if there is no grace, there cannot be any sort of transcendental redemption, right? So, though most people feel that Christianity is something, you have to go back to, I believe, Tertullian and really look at the essence of what true Christianity is. And it's not about Christ, or it is. It's about the Christ within each one of us, going through the realization that the entire cosmos is set to destroy your falsified self, and even more so to test if there's any fibrage of materia prima or pre-substance, really, that's not some weird John Allegra type, sperm from the sky, but it is seeing that the sexualization that's localized is completely misinterpreting and losing out on the grander scale of the panspermic mechanisms of where the progeneration of life came from in the first place, lack of a better.